What is up, Carmination? Welcome back to NASCAR Live. We got NASCAR GOAT Luke here, which every Sunday, typically we've been doing every Sunday this young NASCAR season at 1 p.m. Eastern time, because typically the races are at 3, which gives you guys plenty of time to tune in live, ask questions live, or if something's going on at 1 p.m. Eastern time and you can't make it, you can have plenty of time, roughly 2.5 hours, most races, to watch the replay. So that being said, we like to do this particular show live every Sunday because it gives you guys the opportunity to ask questions live. That's literally the main reason, or else we'd record it. So if you have any questions about anything, FanDuel, Cash GPP, DraftKings Cash GPP, Jock Market NASCAR, Price Picks, Monkey Knife Fight, straight up betting, anything under the sun related to this particular race today, drop the question in the chat. I'll have Luke answer it. Simple as that. So this is the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. We always like those races that have 6,000 words in the title. Before we started recording, I know that Luke just mentioned to me that this is a very interesting race, that he said, I believe to quote him, he said it was Daytona, but not Daytona. So I didn't ask any questions because I wanted to ask it while we were live. So go ahead and kind of go into more details on what you meant by that.
So past track history at Atlanta doesn't mean anything with the new car, because we saw in practice that all the cars are going to stay together, like a super speedway race, like we see at Daytona, but it's at 1.5. So it's going to be a little different. But if the cars stay together, then it's going to be very similar to Daytona, where we're going to want to target drivers starting in the back because they'll offer place differential. And if anyone could get a top 10, they'll be the better place. However, there's 334 laps today. So there's more dominator points available in today's race, but it's the same thing as Daytona, though, where there's 200 laps there, 334 at Atlanta. So we're kind of want to mix place differential with dominator points, because dominator points mean a little more today.
Now, when you reference Daytona, the first thing that pops in my head is that we're leaving a ton of salary on the board. Is that also part of this strategy here?
You can definitely leave salary on the table. I don't think we have to leave like as much as Daytona, like 10,000, but I've already made some lineups, and I can just tell you can leave like 3,000 to 5,000 on the table and still make a good tournament line. So
good to know. So, I mean, that kind of usually we start off the stream by talking about differentiating strategies for particular race style, race courses, and rules and whatnot. But that pretty much covers it there. So, stars and scrubs lineup for GPPs then. Dominator, a handful of dominators and a handful of cheapos for the place differential, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So that being said, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to be covering DraftKings, FanDuel, traditional DFS style cash and GPP plays. We're covering some jock stuff, which if you haven't tuned into the previous stuff, I literally ask him, I show him the list on Jock Market, which is one of our partners. It's the easiest app to cash on. I've won, I think, in the last 9 days, I think I've won like $2,000, and I started with 0. I haven't even deposited on this app yet, just playing free rolls and then exploding from there on out. But we've shown Luke the past couple streams. Here's the projections for the site. Which one do you think is going to exceed the projections the most? And the last 2 streams we've had, I've loaded up on the player, the driver that he said, and I've won. I think the first stream was like $500, and then the last stream this last week was like $450. So I'm hoping that streak continues, because NBA was a punch in the gut yesterday with Luka not doing as well because in the blowout. Anyway, ask your questions in the chat. We'll get to them. So let's start things off per usual with your favorite cash play for that top tier salary range.
I mention him every week, but Kyle Larson has to be him. He's starting all the way back in 21st. He offers a lot of place differential. His recent form's been solid. He won at Auto Club a few weeks ago. He finished second at Vegas. I know he blew up last week, but that can happen to anyone. But starting back in 21st, he offers a decent amount of place differential, and I expect him to be a guy that works his way up to the front. It could potentially score some of those dominator points, which mean a lot more on DraftKings, obviously. But so, yeah, I like Larson. I think he's safe. I think in GPPs, it does make sense to be underweight, just because Larson's not the greatest super speedway racer. And if we think this is going to play out like Daytona, then maybe it makes sense to do that. So Larson's my favorite cash play. I still like him in tournaments. He'll probably be in some of my main lines, but it does make sense to be underweight if you're making a lot of lineups.
All right. Moving straight on to the other side of the category, GPPs. Go ahead and hit us. Well, first, I want to ask you if Larson is GPP playable, regardless if he is or not. Who is your main GPP? So that's kind of a twofold question there.
All right, so my top tournament play in the top tier. I know he's been awful this season, but like he's gonna get it together eventually. And if there's any week he's gonna do it, it's gonna be this week. But I like Denny Hamlin. He's great at the super speedways. He's won multiple Daytona 500s. He always finds his way up there eventually. I know he wrecked earlier in the 500, but it wasn't really his fault. He was just kind of in the back, and then he got caught up in the mess. But Hamlin, he starts 15th. He offers place differential. He can definitely be a dominator in this race. I don't know if he's gonna be super high owned because if people have been playing Denny, they're not going to want to play him this week because he continues to burn people like me. But I'm willing to go back to him again this week, even though I said earlier that I wasn't. So.
And then for Larson, just because he's the cover boy, is he also GPP playable?
Yeah, Larson's definitely playable in GPPs. I just said I don't mind being underweight because he's not the greatest super speedway racer.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to that mid-tier range. Remember, guys, if you have questions, it doesn't matter how dumb you think they are. No question's too dumb. Ask it even if you think it's a basic, simple question. Maybe if you're new to NASCAR and you don't really understand scoring or strategy or anything like that, you can ask any kind of basic questions. It doesn't have to be, do you like this guy over this guy? Any questions that you think will help you create a winning lineup today, ask those in the chat. But mid-tier salary range, favorite cash play for today.
So I know he's wrecked a lot of drivers this season, but I like Brad Keselowski a lot today. This 6 car is really fast, and we've seen him run well at the super speedways. He starts back in 24th. He offers a lot of place differential, and I just think that if there's any week that he's going to go out there and put up a good run, this is it. I mean, this is his week because most races this 6 car is not going to be competitive. Like the Roush, we saw it with Ryan Newman last year or the year before. He just struggled when he was driving the 6, and I think there's a problem there. And if there's a week that Brad has to win, this is it. So I think he's been fast in practice and starting back in 24th. He's underpriced. So I think Keselowski is my favorite cash play, mid-tier.
All right, then moving over to the mid-tier GPPs, who are we targeting today?
In the mid-tier, he burned a lot of people last week, but I'm going I wasn't really on him, thankfully, but I'm going back to Bubba Wallace. He starts in 19th. I always love targeting at the super speedways just because he's he always finds his way up to the front at some point. It just matters if he can be there on the last lap or get the good finish. But starting in 19th, I think he's going to go under-owned just because there's some pivot plays in his price range like Christopher Bell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Eric Jones that are all starting further back. And since Bubba's starting further up, I think he's going to get less ownership than he should. And starting in 19th, he still offers some place differential, and I think he has top 5 upside and could potentially win the race. So he's my favorite tournament play in the mid-tier.
Then you did mention that because we can leave maybe not as much salary you said as Daytona, but you still can leave a lot of salary on the board. Moving on to the cheap side range here, I guess for the cash side of things, who is the cheapest cash driver that you would feel comfortable playing? Double ups, 50-50s, and whatnot.
I think Corey LaJoie is probably the best punt. Obviously, you can play like Josh Bilicki if you want to, but like I don't think you have to go there considering LaJoie has way more upside than him. And starting back in 33rd, he offers a lot of place differential. I know he wrecked last week, but starting 33rd, he's been a good super speedway racer. He usually finishes inside the top 20 in these races, and if he does that at his price, he'll smash. So.
Now, I know you're saying place differential is definitely something we're going to target here today. Is this style of this race today typically something that's going to invoke a lot of crashing? Is that why we're targeting people that are hanging in the back?
Absolutely. We saw in the Xfinity Series race yesterday, there was a big wreck with about like 30 to go, and it took out like over like 10 drivers, I think. So targeting those guys in the back, they're safer. And obviously, like I said earlier, the laps led the dominator points mean something, but the place differential is probably going to mean more just because a lot of the guys that we want to target are starting in the back.
All right. So let's go over to the last DraftKings play of the day. Your favorite cheapo for playing GPP tournaments?
So he's starting all the way up in 14th. So I'm assuming he's going to go under-owned, but I like Chris Buescher a lot today. He's teammate to Brad Keselowski, and like I mentioned earlier with Brad, I like him, so why not like Buescher? An interesting strategy is to stack teammates, and I think that's one you can do in tournaments, Buescher and Keselowski. But so yeah, Buescher starts 14th. He's a good super speedway racer. He usually finds his way up there at the end. I don't think he has a super speedway win, but he always puts himself in a position. So eventually he's gonna get it done. But yeah, starting 14th, he's gonna go under owned with the guys around him, and I think he has top 5 upside and could be a potential sleeper to win. So Buescher's my favorite value tournament play.
All right, now excuse me. That's so weird. I literally was about to start a sentence, and my body said, "Don't stop talking." So anyway, where was I? So we just pulled up Jock Market here. If you do not have this app downloaded, you are crazy. All you have to do is just get the player, the exact player that that Luke is about to mention. I have made $1,000 over the last 2 streams solely playing the drivers that he's talking about. We're going to keep that streak going here with 3 in a row. But just a quick overview. If this is your first time tuning in, you haven't heard us talk about this before. The gist is there are all of the drivers we have for today's race. This isn't just NASCAR, by the way. They have NBA, MLB, NHL, NFL. But you're simply trying to get a driver who's going to extremely over exceed his projections. So you're going to try to look at his projections, how Jock Market has them ordered here or ranked, and you're going to try to find the driver that's going to exceed that projection that is listed on the screen on the app as much as possible. So let's go ahead and scroll through them here. If you don't have an account yet, just go to Jock Market. That is JOCKMKT. So they have like the abbreviated market for, in terms of MKT. So Jock, JOCKMKT.online. And when you deposit, use promo code Karma, you get $100 deposit bonus with that. So I have it on the screen here. So here I'll scroll through, and then you can tell me anything that stands out in terms of that guy is way too low for what is about to happen. Now I'm kind of nervous because you mentioned that crashing is going to be a thing. So I don't know if I'm going to go as heavy as I have been going on this app or not, because I don't want to get a guy and then he crashes and then doesn't even finish and I lose buku bucks on him. But hey, I guess it's just part of NASCAR. So anything so far standing out to you?
I think where Bubba is right now, he's probably my favorite driver to target.
So Bubba right now, 24th. You think he's, out of all of these guys above him, he's the most likeliest to exceed his 24th rank in projections?
Yes.
And just hypothetically speaking, if we're looking at a second driver, who would be the next favorite?
If I had to choose another driver, I would probably take Keselowski.
I was thinking that because you just mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
Bubba number 1 at 24th. So essentially, if you're getting shares of Bubba at a price range that has him finishing in the 24th most fantasy points for NASCAR today, and he finishes in 20th, like they don't have to finish in first. They just have to finish better than their projections. So if he finishes in 23rd, you make money. If he finishes in 18th, you make money. So it's easy to win because all he has to do is outperform his projections. But we're going to be looking at Bubba, and we may look at Brad here. And of course, you'll see the screenshots in the Discord and then on social media as well once these hit again. But yeah, if you have any questions about Josh, just let us know in the chat. We'll move now over to Prize Picks. I know that for our premium members, they got better lines because they in our Discord, because they've already been dropped a few NASCAR plays. But if you're picking one player, one driver, I keep saying player because just it's muscle memory, if you will. One driver on Prize Picks that you think is going to go under or over their fantasy score. You got Keselowski we talking about at 40.5. Bubba's here at 37.5.
Yeah, my favorite driver to target on Prize Picks. I said I liked him on Jock Market, but I like the Keselowski over. I just think it's too low right now. So I kind of explained already why I like Keselowski. I think this is so he's my favorite.
All right. And if you have any questions about Prize Picks as well, ask them in the live stream. And if live stream is over and you're watching the replay, The chat room is free, people. We still have people tuning in every single Sunday for the stream, and you still aren't in the free chat room. All you have to do is go to dfskarma.com/chat. It'll automatically get you into the chat room where you have tons of free channels providing free content and free help to help you become a better DFS player as well as a sports bettor. Let's see, Allison. No, it pops up as Allison on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure it's Mike. It says, I'm thinking of using Cole Custer here. What are your thoughts on him today?
So I think if you're playing a lot of the chalk today of the guys in the back, I think Cole Custer makes for an interesting leverage play. I don't think he's going to have that much ownership just because there's guys around him that are starting further back, like Harrison Burton, Noah Gregson, Michael McDowell. So I think he's definitely playable in the back. He wouldn't be my favorite driver to target, but he's definitely a guy that could work at low ownership, which could be the move in GPPs.
Okay, and before we leave the price pick screen here, if you do not have an account on price picks yet, which there's very, very few of you left out there. We've been promoting our top partners here for the last 3 years. We're pretty sure everybody that has any kind of contact with anybody in our social outreach and our live streams have already have an account here. But if you don't, prizepicks.online, once again, promo code Karma, get you a $100 deposit bonus. But Keselowski over 40.5 is currently the lock of the day. Moving over here to our other partners, monkeyknifefight.online, same thing. Don't have an account. Use promo code Karma, get the $100 deposit bonus. We're looking at fantasy points still here. I haven't. Do you like either of these? You want to keep looking for other ones? We have Blaney at 15.5 and Kyle Busch at 14.5.
Try another.
Let's go to another 2-2, more or less. Logano and Harvick. You like these or no?
Not really.
Elliott and Larson.
Sure, I'll do that one.
All right.
I'm confident that Chase Elliott has a strong run today and finishes top 5. So I like his over, and I'm already super high on Larson in DFS. And like I said earlier, he's not the greatest super speedway racer, so I think I'll be taking the under on him.
We just had Melissa in chat ask for the Monkey Knife Fight 10 pick. I was like, oh yeah, we got to make sure we do that on stream. I was it last week. We got pretty close. I think it was last week that we got I think the first time we tried it, we did 4 out of 10, and last week we did what was it, 8 out of 10?
I think it was 8. Yeah.
So we're getting closer. They got to hit eventually. Luke is too good at fantasy points projections to not have one of these hit. And the best part is the multiplier is so freaking high that you really only need to have one hit to make it worth your while. A 400x, that means you can try 399 times and make a profit. Chase 14.5, we're going over under.
Over.
And then Kyle Larson, I know you already talked about it as a favorite cash play, so I can only assume the over 14.5.
I'm going to take the under.
Ooh. But still cash playable.
Yes, for sure.
Is that based on his high ownership?
No, I just think that I don't think it's a guarantee that he's going to finish 6th or better.
I gotcha. So yeah, if you so this is a 3x multiplier. So in theory, not saying that if your bankroll doesn't allow it, but just playing around with numbers here. If you put $250 on this 2 pick and it hits, you turn $250 into $750, and who doesn't like a $500 profit? It's nice. Let's go ahead to let's do the 10-10. Let me make sure there's not anything they've added differently. 10-10's the most, yeah. All right, so here's our crazy 10-10 because Melissa wanted it, and if Melissa wants it, Melissa's gonna get it. So here's our 10 pick. This is something, like I said, when we've dropped in our Discord the past couple weeks. We got really, really close. It's a 400x. I think it's I think the max you can put on it is $50, which I think I did on the first week. I was like, because if you put $50 on it, that's what $25,000 payoff. I think.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't feel like doing the 20. No, not $50. Maybe it's $25. I don't know. But whatever I did, it was a $25,000 payout, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I think that last week I did a $2 one because that's still a pretty nice payout. Actually, no, I think it was a 500x payout beforehand, and now it's a 400. Maybe that's where my math is off. All right, let's hit us. Start from Ryan Blaney, go all the way down the row. Who are we locking in for this 400x ROI multiplier on Monkey Knife Fight down online?
All right, so starting with Blaney, I'm going to take I'm going to take the over.
Over 15.5 fantasy points for Ryan Blaney. Kyle Busch.
I'm a Kyle Busch fan, but he has the worst luck at the super speedway, so I'm going to take the under.
Kyle Larson, we already just said 14.5 because he's got to hit that, sixth place or better to hit the 14.5.
Yep.
Chase Elliott, 14.5.
I like to over.
Joey Logani.
I'll take his under.
Kevin Harvick, 13.5.
Under.
Hamlin, 13.5. Hamlin was your mid-tier cash play, right?
Top tier tournament play.
Top tier tournament play.
Like
so what are we thinking?
I'll take his over.
Over 13.5. William Byron. I don't know why he just doesn't go by Bill Byron. I feel like the alliteration just makes more sense there. But William Byron, who in this picture looks like he's 13 years old, which he very well may be. William Byron, 12.5 points.
I'll take the under.
Alex Bowman, who won us a good chunk of change a couple weeks ago on our first go around with Luke's Jock Market play, 12.5 points.
I'll take the over.
And another guy that made us some money last week as well on Jock Market, Tyler Reddick, 10.5, which is by far the lowest amount on here.
I'll take the under.
Under. And then this is the fantasy scoring. So every time they lead a lap, they get a 10th of a point. And then where they finish from first to 20th, they get a +1 point. So in theory, if Tyler Reddick never leads a lap and he doesn't finish 10th or better, so if he doesn't finish 10th or better and never leads a lap, he doesn't. So yeah, under 10.5 because you're literally saying he's going to finish in the top 10. So let's go over through these again. Let me know if you change your mind on anything. We have Ryan Blaney over 15.5, Kyle Busch under 14.5, Kyle Larson under 14.5, Chase Elliott over 14.5, Joey Logano under 14.5, Kevin Harvick under 13.5, Hamlin over 13.5, Byron under 12.5, Bowman over 12.5, and Reddick under 10.5. Any changes?
Nope. Looks like a winner.
So with just because I know we just pulled up the scoring here. So we're only projecting Blaney, Elliott, Hamlin, and Bowman to exceed their fantasy points, which pretty much says that we think all four of those drivers are going to finish in the top 8 collectively. So these four drivers can finish in the top 8. Everybody else, no. All right. So as I said, as you see here below, the max you can put on this play is 50. So you can turn $50 into $20,000. And if you don't buy Mr. Luke a new fancy hat, once you win $20,000 on this 10 play, I'm going to have to buy him a hat instead. But yeah, so if you have any questions about anything that is covered on this stream before we wrap it up here, Melissa, that 10 pick was for you. If you have any question about anything we just mentioned on the stream, and whether it's Monkey Knife Fight, Prize Picks, Jock Market, DraftKings, FanDuel, betting, anything, make sure that you get into our free chat room, dfskarma.com/chat. But we're going to finish it off with your favorite drivers to bet on. So taking odds into account, who is the driver most likeliest to win based on the odds that you like? The juice is worth the squeeze.
I like Denny Hamlin the most at 12-1 odds. I think they don't really know what's going to happen in this race, so that's why no one's like 8-1 to win. I think Larson's the highest at 10-1, so they don't really know. So I think a Hamlin at 12-1 is a steal.
All right, and then the driver that's least likeliest to win based on odds, but someone that if everything goes right, which of course you said there's probably going to be a big crash like there was in the Xfinity race. So let's just say one of the big crashes happens and they can vault into first place if every single thing goes right based on their car, based on the track, based on their history, all that jazz. Furthest from the top in terms of odds that you could realistically put some money on today. Who is that?
I mentioned him as one of my favorite tournament plays in the value tier, but I like Chris Buescher.
And what's his odds right now?
I think 60-1.
So 60-1, Buescher, and then Danny Hamlin as your favorite overall, right?
Yep.
All right. So that being said, if you have not yet, click the thumbs up on the stream. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, of course, because we're dropping a lot more content. We've gone very, very heavy into video content at the second half of March here, and it's going to continue to grow from there on out. Make sure you're following us on TikTok if you have that. Ben's dropping daily DraftKings plays and his favorite bets, as well as putting it on YouTube for YouTube Shorts. So you got to be subscribed and following both of those. Any other 2 cents you want to drop here before we wrap this up, Luke?
I would just say that I don't know if this is a race you want to put a lot of money on because it could be very unpredictable. So I'm still going to play a decent amount, but I'm not going to play as much as I did last week. So just with the unpredictability, it should be a great race. I think it's going to be very entertaining to watch. But in terms of like putting money on it, I wouldn't put too much for DFS.
All right. That being said, good luck this weekend, guys. Good luck today. Make sure when you get those winning screenshots, especially if this 400x hits, I better be seeing those on Twitter and tag, of course, Luke, as well as the home account, so we can make sure to retweet them at DFS_karma. But good luck. Hopefully, we're all in the green. If you have any questions, the Discord is free. Just hop in there and ask them. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.